I challenge you to solve these three impossible chess problems. Good day, Pajafers. So today we are gonna solve some chess problems, and this is one of my few videos where I speak English because I want some foreign subscribers because I always speak the Filipino language now. I also want this to share to the world, to other people who is not a Filipino. And the first problem, it's white to play and draw. So I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. If you want more time, just pause the video so that you can solve this correctly. So while you are solving it, if you are new to this channel, please click the subscribe button and comment down below if you want more videos where me or I am Jem speak the English language, especially if you're a foreigner and you don't understand the Filipino language. So, are you done? Are you done solving this problem? Do you know what's the answer to this problem? I will be honest, this problem is intended to trick your friends or to trick your students or to trick the viewers of this video. Because when I show this to my friends, especially the masters, most of my friends are chess masters, NMs or IMs. They answered immediately, and they told me that the solution is rook e6, and it is very easy. After rook e6, I will just play queen takes e6, and they would tell me it's knight c5 check. But you cannot do that because the knight is pinned, and it is an illegal move. So yeah, so if you fell for it, I'm very sorry, but now I will tell you the solution to this impossible chess problem. So as you can see, it's rook and a pawn against a queen. Of course, bishop and knight are almost equal in this kind of positions, but eventually black will win here. Especially he will combine the attack here on this diagonal and force white to leave this some kind of fortress thing. And eventually when black exchanges this bishop for this knight and this pawn, it will be a well-known winning position because it's queen against rook. So white got to act, white got to act fast on this, and he must have something very direct, and the solution to this is knight d4. So knight d4 has two threats. One is rook e6, drawing immediately, and the other one is rook a3 check and rook b3, winning the queen, whichever the way he decides. So after knight d4, black has many options. One of them is queen takes d4, bishop takes d4. Also, he can try to move his queen to d8. If he moves his queen anywhere on the 6th rank, white will play rook e6. He can try to move the queen to c5 or to c7. We will look into that also on a7 or on a5. So let's start with this. Let's start with queen a5. If queen a5, this one is very easy. White will just play rook a3 and it will be a draw. If queen a7, it's also very easy. Rook a3 is also a draw. If queen c7, then rook a3 check. As you can see, after king b6, white will play rook b3, and this king has no escape because white will keep checking here on the a file and the b file, and if ever black brings his king to c8, there is just rook c3 pinning this queen. As well as if king c5, if we go something like king c5, it even loses after knight e6 check, forking the queen and the king, and the resulting position will be winning for white. So after queen c7, it doesn't work. Let's look at queen c5. Still there is rook a3 check, and after king b6 there is rook b3 check. Black may try to bring his king to a4, but he cannot really do that because after king a5, there's just rook b5 check, forking the queen and the king, and this is a draw. So the only way he can escape these checks is king c8, putting his king to c8, but there's rook c3, and once again, it's a draw. So let's look at queen d8, because if queen b8, this is very obvious. If you put the queen into the b file, white will just play rook a3 and rook b3 next move, and it's a draw again. So after queen d8, this is one of the most challenging move that you have to see before playing knight d4. And after queen d8, the answer to this is rook a3 check. And the only way black can make progress is to escape, because if he keep on moving on the a file or on the b file, white will just move his rook back and forth here on a3 and b3. So after king bc is king b7, there is rook b3 check. And if black decides to bring his king to c7 or to c5, there is knight e6 check. And if he decides to bring his king to c8, there is rook b8 check. After king takes b8, knight c6 check, and wins the queen because this is a fork. And again, it's a draw. So you could count how many times I've said the word draw, but it's okay. So after queen d8, there's also one option: try to bring the king to c4, but this is not going to happen because after king b6, rook b3 check, you cannot even cross the 5th rank because there is a knight fork coming, and I think this covers the move queen d8. So after knight d4, there are only 2 tries left. We already exhausted all the other options. So after knight d4, black can try bishop takes d4, but this is very obvious because of rook a3 check. And after king b7 or king b5, there is rook b3, and it's a draw again. So after knight d4, there's only 1 try left, which is queen takes d4. And as you can see, how could white draw this? There's no more forks coming from the knight. Well, there is the perpetual check. Once again, black cannot make progress if he just keeps his king here on the b file. He must escape. He must escape his king, and after rook b3 check, king c6, rook c3 check. So black cannot take this rook. He has to go anywhere on this file, on this d file, and after king d7 or anywhere on this, king d8, king d6, king d5, it doesn't matter. There's just rook d3, and the only way for black not to lose his queen is to play queen takes d3, and after this is a stalemate. So this really looks impossible to me, because when I first solved this, I didn't actually solve it because I thought it was just some trick problem for me to play rook e6, and there is no solution. Once you've seen the knight d4 and the ideas, it's very clear that it's a draw. So I hope I trick you into believing that rook e6 is the solution, but there's a hidden pin here, which is a blind spot for many players. So now we're gonna solve problem number 2, impossible problem number 2, and this one, it's a little bit different. It's not really, it's some kind of uses some rule, but how do you call that? It's not really a normal chess problem. It's just a different kind of chess problem. So the problem here is that you have 16 pawns. You have, let's say, 16 white pawns. Let's put it this way. As you can see, you have 16 white pawns to use, and the pawns move like this. It can control this square. Oops, sorry. It can control this square, these 4 squares. For example, if there's a pawn here on b7, it can control this c6 square, this a6, this h1, this f1. Sorry, it's g2. It can control only these 4 squares, And the problem here is that you need to mate the you need to mate the black king only using these 16 pawns. So let's not include these 3 pawns. You need to mate this black king, and the point here is that this black king can teleport anywhere on the board. But what it cannot do is that it cannot take the pawns. It can just teleport to any square on the board. So you have to mate the white king. For example, I place a check here on d3. The black king cannot use these squares anymore. So the problem here is that you have 16 pawns and you have to mate this king. You have to place the pawns where it cannot really. The king has no squares in the chessboard and it's mate. So I'm gonna give you 10 seconds, and if you want more time, just pause this video. If you want to Stockfish to help you or Komodo or Alpha Zero, I'm sorry, they cannot help you because this is a different kind of chess problem. And you can use this to trick your friends. And while you're solving this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this video to help our channel grow. So I will tell you the solution now, but if you want more time, just pause this video and try to solve this problem. So the solution to this is here. I'm just gonna, how do you call this? I'm just gonna place all the 16 pawns, and you will find no square for the black king. So you just have to place the pawns like this. So there are 16 pawns, and if you place the pawns like this, it controls all the squares. Actually, do I have to do this? Yeah, I think I need to do this. If the rules were clear to you, the pawns can control this square. For example, this pawn on c7. Oops. Can control this d6, b6, d8, b8. And if you put your pawns like this, you will notice that all the squares are being covered by the 16 pawns, all the 64 squares. And the king has really no square on the chessboard. So wherever you put this king, it will be checkmated because it has no squares. So this is the way you put these 16 pawns on this chessboard. So I hope this is enough for you to trick your friends or your players or your coaches. Try to trick them using these problems, and I think they cannot solve this. They will not solve this if they do not know of this before. So now let's move on to a more realistic chess problem. And this is a real chess problem. And here, as you can see, there is coordinates here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the pawn is about to queen, about to promote. And here, the problem here is it's white to play and mate in 3. And I am challenging you, and also I am telling you that you can use your engines, you can use Alpha Zero, you can use your Commodore Stockfish here. It's white to play and mate in 3, and this is some kind of funny chess problem. And if you are tricked in this problem, I hope no hard feelings. Just use these two to your friends, and I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. If you want more time, just pause the video and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. So I'm gonna tell you now the solution to this problem, but the solution is a little bit illegal, and it's here. You're gonna move this pawn here, but you're not gonna promote to queen, knight, rook, or bishop. Oops. Let me just remove that. You're not gonna promote to that because once you played d8 here, let's just remove this pawn. How do I remove that? How do I remove that? I can't even remove the pawn. So let's just reset it. So once you promote here, as you can see, you're promoted here from d7 to d8. Once you promote here to d8, you're not gonna promote to queen, knight, bishop, or rook, and you're gonna promote to king. And this king controls these 6 squares, and your engines cannot solve this because this is an illegal move. And after your opponent plays something like oops, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Once your opponent plays something like king e6, you're gonna play rook f1. Oops, why is that like that? You're gonna play rook f1, and once he plays king d6, you're gonna play rook f6, and this one is a mate because your two kings controls these squares. This is not possible if you promote it to queen because there is a stalemate. If you place king e6, there is rook f1. You cannot do that because this is stalemate, and you cannot do it with the bishop because the bishop controls this, cannot control this d7 square. The only way to mate in 3 this position is to promote into a king. So this is impossible problem. This is an impossible problem because the solution is illegal, and no hard feelings if I trick you. Just try to use this to your friends. Try using this to your friends. Try tricking them. This is just some kind of a funny problem. I've seen this before, but I did not invent this problem actually. So hopefully you enjoy this video, and if you want more, do you call that? If you want more videos like this, please let me know on the comment section and like this video, and don't forget to subscribe. So thank you all, PAJAFERS.